Hello. I have a pretty in-depth energy report for all of us today, and I am really excited about it because it woke me up in the middle of the night last night and all of the things came together. And it's been a minute since I've created one of these, so I'm really pleased that it landed so gracefully. This is going to cover all of August, which we've almost already experienced completely, but we still have a little bit more to go. And it's going to go all the way till the end of September. So you might want to save this video. You might want to watch this video occasionally throughout the next month and a half because it is going to be a pretty incredible September this year. I personally am very, very excited about it. Maybe it's because I just really appreciate and value Virgo energy. And we're not in Virgo quite yet. We're still in Leo, but I'm just going to take a moment. Are you seeing what's happening with my hair here? I'm having the most epic curly girl moment right now. I'm like looking at, I mean, maybe it's more shiny in the Zoom, but it's still Leo season. I can talk about my hair. Uh, I'm just, a lot of things have stabilized in my life lately. And at the end of this energy report, if you want to stick around, I can tell you some of the things that are happening for me on a personal level. Um, like these brand new glasses I just got. Oh my God, they're so good. I literally am seeing the entire world through rose-colored glasses, and I don't hate it. And yet I don't really need them for close up. I just need them for far away. So that's my like tiny little I've missed you. This is what's most exciting for me right now, even though it's just aesthetic. Okay, so the energy report. By the way, if I think you know me, but if you're watching this video and you don't know me, my name is Christina Luna, and I have been channeling messages, energetic messages for how our consciousness is expanding and growing through the astrological cycles. So if you are new to what I do, I've been doing this for about 5 years now publicly. I used all of 2010 to 2020 to educate myself through several different modalities. There was definitely the physical layer of massage, neurokinetic therapy, which is how the motor control center of the brain connects to the movements of the body and how that's disrupted by trauma and how we can bring ourselves back to wholeness by touching the trauma and recircuiting the body. So I studied that body of work. I studied South American shamanism. I apprenticed for a number of years with a medicine woman that I love dearly, and she helped me stabilize some very ungrounded parts of reality that I was opened up to in 2010. In 2010, I popped open with no context. It was quite jarring, and it took me a couple of years to find a teacher that would help me bring the invisible world together with the visible world so that I could understand how all of them are parts of each other. And so I spent a lot of time doing that shamanic training, walking the earth, just being human, putting it all into context. I became an ordained minister in 2015. It was a non-denominational ministerial organization that required quite a lot of self-accountability. Uh, and then I began working as an astrologer in the mid 2000 teens. I was working with individuals for quite a long time, helping them to understand their own recipe and primarily helping to bring people to an understanding of how everyone that they love has their own recipe and how can we really beautifully recognize and value another person's recipe. So that was really the basis of my drive to learn these maps because I had quite a lot of pain in my relationships and I really wanted to understand how to see more than one perspective and how to see so many perspectives, in fact, that I could start to understand how all of these perspectives are truly seeing the same elephant from a slightly different vantage point. So I dedicated myself to that for a number of years and learning that through Hellenistic astrology, evolutionary astrology. I took an alchemy course, a really intense year-long alchemy course to learn the energy body and the energy map and how what we focus on and from where we're observing that from in our field, how that affects the amount of energy we have for it. And that was very valuable work that I did in 2019. And then I began creating these videos in 2020. And over the course of the last 5 years, I've learned how to serve primarily female leaders who have quite a huge community, quite a great space of influence in the world, and they know how powerful they are, and they know that there's energy and rhythms that they flow through, and they know that honoring that and maximizing their acceptance and understanding of their own recipe can really create a more efficient space of leadership and impact. So for the past few years, I've been serving female business owners as well as individuals and their relationships, obviously. But that's where I am now. And now I'm creating these videos to serve whoever's called to them in understanding what the current rhythm actually is providing. There are permission slips every single day, and I pay close attention to these windows of opportunity as if they're fruits ripening on the tree, ready to be taken in and digested and utilized. So that's just a little bit about me. I rarely ever talk about who I am or what I do, and this Leo season has definitely got me honoring that. So thank you for giving me the time to share a little bit about myself. Um, so now to get into the transits and the energy of August and September. I'm going to admit the beginning of August was pretty rough for me, at least that Lionsgate energy, all of that was pretty intense. But the reason it's intense for me, I don't know if it was for you. The reason it's intense for me is I don't handle unstructured, non-linear, physical, emotional, fiery, chaotic energy very well. I just don't like it. I really enjoy methodical, thorough, grounded, tangible, process-oriented, informational spaces. So Leo energy combined with Cancer energy, we have a lot of energies that are in these like emotional, energetic, fiery, like playful, deconstructive kind of spaces. And these spaces are really beneficial to artists. They're beneficial to people who already buck the system, revolt against structure, revolt against authorities, especially their own authorities. It was definitely a season of what you might label the self-saboteur, the saboteur that wants to resist all of the things that you think are good for you. So patterns of coping mechanisms, patterns of just whatever, not not doing whatever you think is good for you. Um, that was going on in the beginning of August, and to be honest, I in the first week of August, we had kind of this opportunity to just like be with that, if you could give yourself permission. The second week of August, we were in a questioning period. And every single year, I've been tracking this since 2018. I track the energies of each week every single year, and I've been doing it since 2018. I used to create calendars about this, and and like at this point, I'm just like, oh, I'll just make content. It's a lot to make these calendars, but basically, from the 3rd to the 9th, there could have been a moment of disillusionment. Like, I used to think all of these things were so important. I used to be so invested in these things, and I actually just don't care. Why don't I care? I just can't pull myself to get out of bed for this or to light a fire about anything. And so if you were feeling that way, the energy was asking you to question everything that you've held sacred and dear for so long. And in that questioning, you may have found that pillars of your life just don't matter to you anymore. And geez, who are you without that pillar? Who are you with that secret trauma that you've built a personality around? Or who are you? Like, let's take the secret trauma thing. Okay, let's just give a metaphor for this. Let's pretend that something happened to you when you were 20 years old and it created a whole slew of personality traits, coping strategies, protection mechanisms. You really increased certain levels of your personality to kind of prevent, hide, or mask anyone from seeing what this was. And because it was so kind of deep in storage, deep in the core, there may have even been some seductive taboos in your reality that would try to stir it up. You know, they say that the erotic landscape is saturated in some ways with these little secret taboos that we create eroticism around in order for them to feel not so scary. And so let's say something happened to you at 19, you tucked it in there, it kind of shaped your erotic landscape, you cultivated a personality to protect you from that, blah, 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 blah. Let's say that through the course of the transits of August, you felt so unstructured that parts of your personality that masked all of that kind of fell apart. They kind of slipped away. And that little thing that was back in the corner just surfaced gently, slowly. It just came to the surface. Chiron was retrograde in August. So all of a sudden, it doesn't feel so important to keep it hidden. It feels safe to feel worthy, even though that little wound was there. And so you let it surface completely and you realize, oh my gosh, well, now that it's not taboo and now that it's not secret, how much of my personality was shaped because of that? And who am I now if I'm not a response to that little wound? So this could have affected your relationship with your own identity. It could have affected your relationship with your values. Some of your beliefs might have been blown out the window. Some of the ways that you kept yourself safe and held your own emotions may have changed. You may have found yourself more comfortable with not knowing the answers, with uncertainty. You may even feel like the contribution you've been giving to the world for all this time was was in an effort to surface that wound or to see it in other people so that you could work with others to bring it into resolution. And so you may even be questioning the contribution you bring to the world at this point, because suddenly this little niggling wound in your system is healed. It's healed. Healing could be so disorienting if parts of your personality or your mission were based on that wound being there. So let's say you found yourself in a space where your awareness of yourself increases. You're not afraid to be uncertain. You're not afraid for your values to change. You can really let all of that release. And there's a lot of reasons why this may have happened in the month of August. Partially, we had a South Node in Virgo, and Virgo is the energy, it's like the space in our lives where we've completed like a kit of completeness. We think this is a good and right package. And with the South Node there, our previous good and right package has sort of come apart at the seams a little bit. We've pulled the stitches out, and now the wound was exposed, and true healing can happen now because we didn't stitch over the splinter that actually needed to come out. The splinter's out, the stitches, it's all, the wound is healing now. So August may have been quite a beautiful healing month. Um, so now where we are at the 19th of August right now. And today the sun is in a trine to Chiron. The sun is in Leo. That's the acceptance and the heart of who we've come to know ourselves as up to this point. And Chiron is in Aries. Chiron is the medicine space within us that says, you were never damaged. You were never the problem. You were never unworthy. You've always been complete and whole. You just forgot that a long time ago, and now you remember. So today, we've cultivated enough self-acceptance, enough self-love that we can now honor the revelations that are coming with greater self-awareness. So you may have found that you've become aware of something that was previously confusing to you. You didn't know. Like, I can give you an example from my own life. For the last couple of years, I gained weight. I gained some weight that I thought was maybe menopausal. I gained about 30 pounds over what I'd been my entire life. My entire life, I was at a certain space. That was just how my body was. I didn't have to do a lot to maintain that. It just was how it was. And then over the last couple of years, it's just been going up and up and up. And it hasn't really shown signs of receding. And so I told myself a story that this was what happens in your mid 40s. I'm 45 years old, so I'm getting all the social media posts about perimenopausal and hormones and blah, 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 you know, cortisol, and it's just information, information, information. And that information still felt really confusing to me. And I found myself taking supplements, and I found myself trying to solve this issue based on a story that I decided to accept that I didn't know if it was true or not. Uh, and there was an anomaly. I wasn't, I was like, I didn't even know if the weight gain was healthy or not healthy. I didn't have a clear definition of what this actually meant for me. And I was, struggling between the ghost of my previous body self and who I'm becoming, perhaps. I knew that I didn't want to wait to accept myself until I was at a previous weight that I had accepted more. I knew that that wasn't really the key, and I wouldn't want to do things to my body in any way so that I could gain better self-acceptance because I changed my body. I really wanted to find a way to love and accept myself exactly as I am. And to be honest, like the last couple of months, well, part of the change was I moved into a house that has huge full-length mirrors in the bathroom. And I haven't had full-length mirrors for a couple of years because I was living in apartments that were smaller. And so I moved into this house. It's a beautiful house. My nervous system's so stable. Everything feels beautiful, non-stressful, quiet. It's all like really good nervous system regulation, right? And I've got these mirrors to observe myself from a stable nervous system state. And I I authentically came to a space where I was like, I love what I see. I love what I see in the mirror. It's so strange to me that I linked the number on the scale to size or to whatever. Like the stories, all the files fell off about all of that stuff. And what was left was, oh my gosh, I'm a saucy, attractive, amazing, like powerful, like feminine woman. And so I came to this really high level of self-acceptance. Then, with all of that, gently, what landed was this awareness that I actually really want to use my body to become strong. There's a lot more. I mean, I'll save the rest of that story to the very end because there were some really significant emotional changes that brought that on. But the reason I'm sharing all of this story is because around the second week of August, there were many moving parts. There were many choices that we could have made. There were options. And whatever option you choose probably gave you clarity this week from the 17th to the 23rd. You're receiving clarity about what you truly stand for. And this clarity can feel like you're holding like your whole you've got this strength, you've got this like powerful wand, this powerful sword, this powerful fire within you that gives you certainty, clarity, love, self-acceptance, and it's something you want to devote yourself to because you finally found the thing that you do deeply care about. And this is important because we're going to take this into the eclipse cycle. I I'm going to pause this just for a second because I feel like I just spent 23 minutes going off the rails. I'll probably post this video for anyone who's really interested. But I feel like I need to make something that's more concise about just the energy instead of peppering in so much of my own story. So there's going to be two videos. There's going to be this video, and then there's going to be a how this relates to you video where I'm not talking about myself at all and I'm only talking about you because I just got a little self-awareness that I don't know if anyone really cares to hear about what I'm doing in my life based on these transits. If you're watching this and you came over here to watch this video because of the previous video, um, let me know if this kind of content is interesting to you. Maybe I'll start a platform where I share all of the energetic information on one video, and then I share my own life experiences on the other video so that you can pick and choose how much of this you actually want to consume. Because I would love to have a free space to talk about how these transits are, how I'm living through them, because I'm very actively living the human experience of these transits. And so if that's something you're interested in, hey, maybe I've got this new like platform where I'll provide that. And so in that, in the light of that, maybe I should just continue with my story for this video. And then I'll make another video that just has the transits. All right. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, so we get to this week. This is what I stand for. So I signed up for mixed martial arts. I was having an identity crisis last week. I was feeling like I'd gotten too relaxed, too yin, too feminine, too receptive, too unstructured. I'd gone all the way, you know, something about being receptive, especially when it comes to like comfort, is you can take in a lot. And I was taking in a lot of wonderful, delicious, delightful foods. I was not caring a bit. There was no self regulation so that I would accept myself because I was loving myself so much. Like, yes, have more, have more. It's delicious, have more. And so this summer, things went up even more, and none of my clothes were fitting. And I was like, if I stay on this trajectory, I will have to buy all new clothes again. I'm so pleased that I love myself, but don't I don't know if I want to keep going this way. And I was feeling really tired, and I was kind of feeling low energy and not sharp. So I made the strong decision to begin mixed martial arts. And the other part of that was, in the past, I had really challenging relationship dynamics that acted as a worthy opponent in my life. And it kept my growth edge sharp because I was always trying to optimize my relationships. Now I have a really beautiful, secure relationship, and my relationship is not an opponent in my life. It feels like a team member. And so I didn't have any opponents anymore. I lost my growth edge. I felt like I was melting into absolute receptivity. I didn't have a sharp edge anymore. And I really like being sharp, but I had to ask myself, am I sharp because I have to be hyper vigilant? Am I sharp because I have to protect myself? Am I sharp because I was in scarcity? Like, what part of my personality made me sharp to begin with? And if I don't have any of those wounds or opponents or things I have to protect myself from, why do I need to be sharp? So that was a little bit of a psychological twist. And when I surrendered into that too, I realized, oh, I actually just really enjoy being a badass. Like, I enjoy being sharp. I like it. It feels good. It feels good to know that I can, if I wanted to, I could walk down the street, and if someone did try to do anything, I could throw them over my shoulder, and I could pin them on the ground, and I could beat the shit out of them if I wanted to. Like, I don't want any of those things to happen, but there's an internal confidence when I walk the world feeling really strong in my body. There's an internal confidence that I enjoy feeling and that I haven't felt for a while. And I used to feel all the time, like all the time. It was like an energetic mojo, right? So I decided to start taking fight classes, and I've taken them now. I'm in my second week of fight classes, and I love it. And I accepted this new identity. Like, I'm a boxer. And I've even had people come up to me and be like, "Oh, have you fought here before? Are you a fighter? You've been fighting already. Where have you trained?" And I did train in the past, but it's been like 13 years since I did any of that. And the muscles are remembering, and I'm connecting with that fire, and gosh, it just feels amazing. So now I've got this new strength, and I feel the rhythm and the pattern of all of this. So let me now go into what I project is going to happen with all of this, And I hope that you can find something in your own life that tracks some of the things I've been sharing with you. Use my experience as a symbol for um, maybe something that might be happening in your life. So next week we're going to be in this Ten of Pentacles energy, and we're going to enter into Virgo season. And what I imagine is going to happen during Virgo season is that we're going to feel like we chose very well. That we know the direction we want to go. We know the work we want to do. We want to know we already know what we're dedicated to. So that takes us into the energy of September. And I'll just say briefly, the 4 weeks in September, the first one's going to be, all right, now we know let's take an inventory of what we have so far. What are we working with? What are the ingredients? The second week is I feel deeply invested in these things. Like, I really believe in these tools. I believe in these processes. I feel really invested in what I'm doing here. I can tell that it's really yielding results, and I'm really dedicated to these things now. The third week is the King of Pentacles, and that will be the moment where we say, I'm going to share my abundance with you from a place of wholeness. I share my abundance of resources, my time, my energy, my focus. I have all of these gifts and I want to share them with you from a space of wholeness. So that will be from the 14th to the 20th of September. And then from the 21st to the 27th, we'll have this like very clear, like, it's the Ace of Swords, and it's that my idea is whole and complete. I have a whole and complete part of the equation, and I'm ready to bring it. I'm ready to bring it to you. And then the very last week of September is I'm ready to cross-pollinate my ideas with yours. So we do it not to validate our idea, but because we know that how valuable our kit is, how valuable our ideas are, and we want to blend and complement with another person's very well formed ideas. So that's when co-creation begins. We have eclipses during this time. I've already given myself permission to get really technical on the other video I'm going to make. So let me just tell you what I think is going to happen on a personal level with all of this energy for me. Um, what I think is happening is my body is no longer having to maintain and optimize things that are only partially aligned for me. My living, just like 1 year ago, my living experience was not completely aligned for me. It was pretty close. I had done a lot of work to get there and I loved it, but it wasn't quite perfect. My relationship had ended. So I ended a 13-year relationship that wasn't quite aligned for me. I had health patterns that were not quite aligned for me, parenting patterns that were not like everything, every single area of my life. And the work I was doing in the world, I knew I had really important gifts to share, but the way I was working was still not completely functioning right for the way that my energy is, for the way I'm designed, for my recipe. And so things were optimized to the highest degree I could optimize them. But I had to ask the question, why do I have to work so hard to optimize this? Is there something at the foundational level that needs to change so I don't have to use so much energy to optimize? So over the last year, I went all the way down to the base level. I had to go down to the base level of my body. I discontinued taking all kinds of supplements that I thought were going to try and optimize my hormones or my metabolism or whatever. Like I was taking supplements, I took all the supplements gone. I changed where I lived. I was on a, penthouse apartment at the top of the building. I put myself on the ground in a neighborhood that's quiet with a backyard and privacy. So out in the suburbs, so there's not even any like city noise. So I optimized my base level. I uncovered my relationship desires. I was very honest with myself about why I was choosing different types of relationships dynamics and what I really wanted instead. And I started a new relationship and, you know, I used everything I knew about myself and all of the signs, all of the personality types, all the recipes to attract. I want to I want to use the word manifest, but it wasn't really, that word is a little whatever. I just use really clear, careful discernment based on what I know about myself and what I know about how diverse other people can be. And I felt really clearly in my body all the desires and all the feedback I was getting. And I was able to establish a really beautiful and secure relationship with someone that I love very much and now I'm living with. So, um, yeah, all of these foundational things that are not glamorous, they're not public, they're not things that I would normally just share, but they were really important. And the entire year last year was about me making those changes. Now I am increasing, I've stabilized the changes, and now I'm adding load onto my system in the form of strength and conditioning. I'm also like measuring my macros really carefully. I last week I got this brilliant idea where I was like, okay, how about I tell ChatGPT everything that's in my fridge? And then I ask it to help me understand what um, an appropriate like calorie deficit that's very healthy that includes like 130 grams of protein and aligned macros for the calorie intake. What if I get really healthy stats on what my goals are, and then I ask for support in the math part of it with the AI and track it over time so that I can know that I'm building muscle. I am putting my body into a space where it's nourished. I'm keeping track of what's going in and what's going out. And then I can actually see something outside of me that's consistent. And so I started doing that last week, and it's already like blowing my mind. And I realize now that the last couple of years, when I gained all this weight, it wasn't because of my hormones, and no amount of supplements was going to fix it. It was actually because I used to live in a house with a whole bunch of stairs, and I had to go up and down the stairs all the time. And I was also kind of broke a few years ago. I was eating at home because I was not spending money on food. And so I was making my meals at home and I was going up the stairs all the time. So my body was maintaining a certain level of fitness because my lifestyle sort of put that structure in from the outside. When I was given a lot more abundance and the ability to not have to run up and down the stairs all the time, I suddenly started living a more sedentary lifestyle and I started eating a lot more food at restaurants. And so I decreased my activity and I increased my calories and fat and richness and all the things, which I enjoyed very much. But that comfort caused my body to change. And like how it's so obvious, right? But while I was telling myself a story about my hormones, it wasn't obvious to me. I was hiding the obvious truth in plain sight. And it didn't matter how many influencers or smart people in my life told me I couldn't see it. I didn't want to see it. And now I see it and I love it. And I'm so happy because that means it's not been mysterious. It's not a mysterious thing. So I went ahead, I've gone ahead and I've started tracking these things and I'm seeing results already. Like immediately I'm seeing results. I love it. I feel great. I feel nourished and I feel like I've created a really stable relationship with something that's felt so mysterious to me. So again, at that base level, I have a sense of respect for the math of my reality, a respect for physical, tangible proof. So, what I can measure, I can manage. So, I am doing that. It's amazing. It's so Virgoan. I love it. So increased strength, increased physicality, really strong, stable base, very supportive relationships, resources of time, energy, wisdom, whatever. I have resources now. I have plenty of resources. I had plenty of resources before, but I have even more ability to share my resources now because I'm coming from this really stable and congruent foundation. So, what I believe is going to happen over the next month is Virgo rules my ninth house. So maybe you should look at where Virgo is in your chart. Wherever Virgo is in your chart, that's going to be the sweet laboratory, the sweet spot, the initiation point for this eclipse portal. You're going to take a look. For me, it's the ninth house, which is teaching philosophies, guiding principles, like showing up with your epiphanies, sharing new truths that help to aid and assist others in their growth. So, which is what it's my freaking jam. That like the ninth house is my jam. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher. I've always wanted to be a teacher, and I'm not saying I'm going to just become a teacher, but I love sharing content that helps people's minds open and expand, that helps people to see their life from a different vantage point, that puts things into perspective. I love it. That's why I do what I do because I started to see things. I started to see these patterns and I was like, whoa, if you know about the pattern, then you can see why you are where you are right now. You can see how you got there, and you can kind of predict where it's going to go based on the actions you take right now. That's so powerful. So it felt exciting to me to have that information, and all I've ever wanted to do is share it, which is what this entire astrology career has been about. So now we get to September. I've created so many resources over the years. I've created workshops and I've got classes and all this stuff. I've known for a long time that I wanted to make something easily available and organized for people to receive. And I want to just I'm making a like free resource library for people. So that's going to be step one. I haven't done it yet. The work will start. Like I'm just telling you what my trajectory is. This is where my mind is. I know now that I want to make all of my material available in a very clean and concise way. I want to make my resource library really easy to access. And so I know I'm choosing that. I'm fairly certain the very first week of September, I'm going to be in the work of that. That's when we say, let's see what we have so far. What are we working with? So that's when I'll be inventorying all of my philosophical content and organizing it in a way that I can give it. Um, then I feel deeply invested in these things. Probably what will happen in my inventory is I will begin to see some patterns. And those patterns are going to inform more of my work in the world, more of my process. What if I start seeing patterns that can come in the form of a series of books? What if I start seeing patterns that I can actually package into really small information nuggets that are very direct, very easy to consume. And so I start realizing how I can create short form content from all of my library. So I believe I'll receive some kind of really intriguing understanding or value of myself, my work, how I can give that work in a more valuable way. Then on the 14th, we've got the King of Pentacles. And this would be like the announcement, like, listen, I have a bounty of references and information for you. I live to have these kinds of philosophical conversations. Here's my resource library. It's free. You don't have to opt in. Just take it if you want it. And from this point forward, I'm going to be doing this kind of content in the world because this is what I care about and this is what I want to provide you. And these are the types of conversations I want to be having with you. So, some kind of like abundant offering from a place of wholeness. And I imagine that those actions will probably bring me to the Ace of Swords, which is Libra season, where I have a real clear and concise, like, this is my sword of truth. Join me. Like we raise our swords together, we raise our staffs together. Like, yes, I've got this flame of truth, and I am ready to step into the world and stand behind my work and stand behind what I believe. And I want to share in a space with others that are doing the same. So that brings us to the second week of Libra season, where I'll probably be offered opportunities to share that with others in other communities. Maybe I'll be on more podcasts. Maybe I'll be invited on stages. Maybe I will start my own podcast and invite others with swords onto my podcast so that I can create a platform of my own that I want to have these conversations and share the conversations with you. Like I'm breaking this down for you about my own personal initiation because I think that sometimes we don't know how to measure progress when it's invisible, when it's stabilizing, when it's something that we're putting the roots in. Like when the roots are growing deep and they're connecting with other roots and they're like anchoring themselves into the ground, it might not look like a lot of things are happening on the surface. I feel like I definitely am experiencing a blooming, like I'm feeling really beautiful, I'm feeling really healthy. My tree feels really good, like healthier, more stable, anchored, luscious, like than maybe my entire life. And that's all been me to witness. I've been witnessing that for myself. I'm having this video now, and maybe you think that's true also. Maybe you're witnessing me. Maybe you're like, wow, that curly girl haircut is looking great, honey. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I already have my own opinions of myself. So these things, I'm because of my recipe, it's not really the way I operate, but not that I don't appreciate compliments. I do appreciate compliments. They feel like they feel like when a rose bush has just really fragrant roses, or a tree has really beautiful flowers or fruits, and someone enjoys it, the tree will go on producing flowers and go on producing fruit, regardless of whether anyone enjoys it. But how nice when someone does. Like, how wonderful for whoever gets to smell the flowers or eat the fruits. Like, I kind of feel like that's how everyone is. Like, I walk around and I witness people's fragrant, beautiful flowers and wonderful energy and beautiful fruits. And I'm just so grateful that they exist, and it's just a part of their existence that they are these beautiful beings. And so, gosh, super nonlinear, neurodivergent sort of conversation today, but I kind of gave myself so much permission in the beginning of this video to just like go off the rails a bit. So I hope that this share served you. I am going to make another video right now with all the technical things because, oh my gosh, the technical astrology for the month of September is so good. It's so good. It is like it's so specific. It's so, especially my birthday is on September 19th. The lead up to that day and then the like threshold of that day for everybody, it's so good. I'm just very, very excited about my birthday this year because of the astrology and and where I think this is all going. But I'll create that for you so you can have your calendar out and you can like write down little notes and track this for yourself. But I do hope that this personal share puts some things into context for your own life as well. Sometimes the lived human experience can be even more valuable than the data, which, okay, if you're still watching this video, I have this idea. I'm going to ask you, please, if you're still watching this video, this is the Easter egg for everyone that's actually watching this video. I have this podcast idea called Maps versus Reality, where we discuss a very specific map. Astrology is a map, but I'm thinking like I wrote down a ton of ideas. Like I'll take astrology to start. The map of how this week astrologically is meant to be experienced or the opportunities it's giving, right? And then the conversation is what was the actual lived experience of that though? How did the map relate to the human experience? And was it helpful to have the map or not helpful? What were the surprises? What were the same? So there would be things like dating a Virgo, dating a Cancer, dating a Capricorn, dating a Sagittarius. There's the map, like based on what astrology would say about dating these archetypal energies. Here's what you might expect, but then we would actually interview people who have actually done it. And we would be like, so what was the actual experience of that? Do you find it accurate? Did you find it not so much? Obviously, the lived experience, the message we would get is that the human lived experience is so much more complex than any map. The terrain is always going to be different than like the intellectual observation of the terrain. So it's kind of playing around with like masculine perception and feminine experience. And obviously, I have to like taper down my description a little bit, but this feels really exciting to me. It feels exciting to start an episode with, all right, here's the linear beginning, middle, end, and objective, and what you can expect. Like, I have a map for manifestation. I have a map for changing your beliefs. I have a map for healing trauma, right? Here are the steps. But we only go over that just brief enough to acquaint people with the map. And then there's a whole conversation about like, what did it feel like? What was your exact experience? How did it go? How did you know that you were doing that? What's the report on the earth, on the terrain? I don't know. I'm excited. I haven't been this excited about a structure for a podcast idea for a long time. And I'm assuming that that excitement is coming from having walked quite a bit of terrain now and comparing that terrain to these maps and really seeing the value of maps, but also the the crutch of the map, right? So if you got to the end of this video, thank you so much. I hope that this update was interesting for you. I hope it connected to something in your life, and I will do this again sometime. Look for my other more technical video, and I'll see you next time.